On this particular day, I was helping the students get started reading Act 2 of The Crucible by Arthur Miller and leading a class discussion on the reading that we were doing. And today was pretty tough for me personally because I had a lesson plan that I created. This was a practice mirror lesson that I'd actually done the day before. Unfortunately, I was misinformed about where my students were in the text, and a lot of what I had planned ended up having to be changed and moved around on the spot, which was difficult. However, I know that it was good for me as a future teacher because I know that your plan isn't always going to be the way that things go, and you have to be ready and prepared to switch up, change up, and move on and continue moving forward no matter what happens. Another difficulty that I experienced in this particular lesson, in this particular class, is that because my misinformation on where the class was in the text, because of that, my CT did feel the need to interject on a consistent basis, despite the fact that I was doing a pretty good job, in my own opinion, improving and making sure that I was covering the important issues within the text that the kids were reading. But those were some difficulties. I did notice in rewatching the video that I was pretty stationary. I did feel awkward in trying to decide if I should move around the classroom while the students were reading the play, but I was a little bit unsure of how to do that effectively and how to continue leading discussion. So it was an awkward position. I do feel that I needed to move around more. I felt that I was too stationary at my podium at the front of the classroom. I believe that I did a good job assigning the roles of the characters that students would be taking on in the reading of the play. I chose students who had not been paying attention during class, students who were very easily distracted, and students who I could tell weren't very engaged from the get-go. So I made sure that in some of the assigning of the roles that I chose the students that needed to be actively participating in the class. I also tried not to lecture. I didn't want to be the one speaking the whole time, so I made sure that the students were kind of taking on the discussion in their own way instead of only using my prompts to get the discussion moving. Something I think that I would have changed or would think about changing is we spent a great deal of class time reading the play, and only 4 or 5 students were involved in the reading of this particular section of the play. Because the students have their literature books on their laptops and are required to read from their laptops, a lot of the students who weren't participating in the reading at the time were obviously doing other things. At some point, I did walk around the classroom, just kind of make my presence, kind of close the physical space between me and the students to kind of try to make sure that they were on task. But laptops did provide a problem in this situation because of how easy it is for students to quick pull up an internet page, search the internet, and not pay attention. So that was something that I was dealing with. I'm not quite sure how to get all the students involved when certain students are assigned roles in a play. At some point, I did consider having students switch roles halfway through the reading so that more students could be more involved. But I also realized that there is a positive benefit to having one student maintain one role throughout the reading of the play, just because students are more likely to remember the role of the character because they can associate with that classmate. So there was this kind of confusion on my part of knowing how to involve all the students when the action was only being participated in by those students who had been assigned roles for this particular reading of the play. Last but not least, I do think that our discussion was really great. The students got very involved, and the students were taking on leaders in the discussion on their own. I didn't feel as though my presence was too heavy in the discussion, and I do feel that I was conscious of the reading and what we were reading, and I was conscious of the subjects and the topics that needed to be approached in discussion, even though I hadn't prepared to do it. I believe that I did a good job in this situation, even though it didn't go as perfect as I had wanted it to. I think I did a great job kind of picking up and moving forward despite confusion about the lesson plan.